Hello, welcome to Fearox Frank Reviews. Yesterday I talked about The Innocent Man, a rather good movie from the 1980s. Today I'm going to talk about a sci-fi horror film, but here's the problem. I tried looking everywhere to get this movie on a single DVD or single Blu-ray. So far, no such luck. The only way I can ever actually get the film is on this, an 8-film horror collection that has films like Waxwork, 968 Evil 2, Ghoulies 3, Ghoulies Go to College, The Unholy, Chud 2, Bud the Chud, Slaughter High, Class of 1999, and of course, the movie I'm going to review, Chopping Mall. And where is it? Right here. This is the film. Get a good look at that poster. Really fucking weird, isn't it? It's a robot hand with human holding a bag, holding human body parts in it. Kind of disgusting, don't you think? And you know what? I know what some of you are thinking. Should I review some of the other films that are on this? Well, yeah, I would love to, in a sense. I mean, we actually have some really good movies on this thing. We have Waxworks, which is actually a really good movie. Sadly, I don't have the sequel, which is just as hammy as fuck. 976 Evil 2. My pronunciation was a little off. I'm terribly sorry. Though, to be fair, the first one was a lot better because, Robert Picardo was in it, and the first one was directed by Robert Englund. You know, Freddy Krueger himself. Ghoulies 3, I haven't actually seen that. I only saw one Ghoulies movie. I mean, I only saw Ghoulies 2, alright, and Ghoulies 4. Yeah, I never got into those films because, for some reason, I thought they were a demonic version of the fucking Gremlins. Which I'm starting to think that's what they were, technically. But probably not as memorable. But they have a cult following for some reason. I don't know. But the film is R-rated. But I don't know. Maybe eventually I'll get to it. The Unholy is actually a pretty interesting movie, which I think is actually rather original now that I think about it. Slaughter High, I thought about reviewing that one first, but the thing is, I think it'd be better if I do that in April because the movie went by another name beforehand. It actually went under the name April Fool's Day, but here's the thing. The movie came out around the same time as another horror film called April Fool's Day, and it itself was a slasher film, and this is a slasher film too. But it's kind of a real fucked up slasher film. It's really screwed up in a sense. It's like, is it a slasher film or is it a parody? It's both for some weird reason. Chud 2, I thought about that one, but no. Class of 1999, oh my god. I would have liked to review that, but I love this film. Seriously, amongst all the films that are on this DVD collection, Class of 1999 is my all-time favorite amongst all of them. My close second will obviously have to go to Waxworks, because that's also a good movie too. Thirdly, would probably go to Chopping Mall, which is the film I'm going to review. So, I spent 3 minutes yapping away, so let's get this over with. What is Chopping Mall exactly? Well, other than the name itself, you would think it has something to do, it's a slasher film. You would think it's a slasher film that has something to do with, a serial killer killing unsuspecting teenagers at a shopping mall. Get it? Chopping mall? Shopping mall? Shopping? 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 Get it? You get it? Yeah, kind of a play on words. But, there is no actual slasher in it. Well, technically there are. Actually, the slashers in this one are actually robots called protectors. Now, I would say this was sort of a horror version, a horror ripoff of Short Circuit, but this movie came out just a few months before Short Circuit did. So I wouldn't say it's a ripoff of Short Circuit, necessarily, but it does have somewhat the same premise. Anyway, there's actually 3 robot protectors, and they're armed with tasers and laser eyes that blow people's heads off. Well, at least one head exploded, and yeah. So, I don't know how that's even possible. But anyway, this movie was made in the 1980s, like I said, and it is drenched in 1980s nostalgia. The mall setting is, when you watch the whole mall setting, it is definitely in the 1980s, just by looking at it. The music is good, and the whole setting of the mall is just 1980s. Though, I'm not too sure when the movie actually took place. I mean, may say it's the futuristic version or a sci-fi version of the 1980s. because they had those big, because when they locked the mall up in the middle of the movie, all the mall doors closed. It's like something out of a sci-fi movie. Like you see like one of those sci-fi prison movies, or like on a spaceship, prison door, like the big ass doors closed. That's like, I'm going, what mall has that? Seriously, and this is 1986 amongst all things. So it doesn't make any logical sense. But it's the 80s. I was born in... You know what? Wait, was this movie... When was this movie made? Okay, look at that. Oh, it is 1986. Which is kind of weird, because that's the year I was born in. I was born late 1986. So I'm an 80s kid. I grew up in the 90s. I went to high school in the 2000s. And the rest is history. I'm in college doing arts, and I'm good for that. But, okay. Seriously, when people talk about the 1980s, good lord, this movie is drenched in it. Not even gonna lie. Anyway, the way the whole movie plays out, obviously we get like the teenage employees gonna do some shenanigans when the place closes up. You know, the whole sex, drugs, rock and roll. You know, sex, drugs, rock and roll. Sex, drugs, rock and... You know, the whole... the whole 9 yards of what the 1980s slasher films were all about. Teenagers, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. A serial killer going and picking them all off one by one. There you go, slasher film formula. Except we have 3 slashers, which are actually the robots. And like Johnny Five in Short Circuit, they actually come to life when an electrical storm comes by over the mall and zaps an antenna and juices them up to the point where now they're alive, and their circuits have all completely gone haywire. Yeah. So it's like that shenanigan. So it pulls the Frankenstein routine, but unlike Short Circuit, where it was family friendly and somewhat whimsical, this one's straight up fucking horror. So, okay, should have saw that one coming. But you know what? Looking at this film, I'm starting to think that maybe, just maybe, this film originally started out as a decent slasher movie with a serial killer in the mall actually hunting people down in the shopping mall. I mean, that actually spells like an actual decent slasher film. Plus, I don't think a film like that maybe it even exists yet. It's possible that maybe this movie did start out as that, but they actually put the robots in there at the last minute. So, I don't know. It also feels like a Roger Corman film. It would be... Is there a Roger Corman film by any chance? I don't see any of Corman's name on this thing. But, oh, I do see a name here on the back. Name you may all remember. Dick Miller. Oh, yeah. 80s Dick Miller's in this movie. And he gets killed. Yeah. He's one of the victims. Yeah, he's one of the first victims of the Protectors. I mean, before the Protectors go out killing the teenagers, they kill 2 maintenance... They kill 2 of their maintenance men out of nowhere, and like Dick Miller's character is just the janitor, and he gets electrocuted. So he's like the 3rd victim. And after the kids go through the whole, teenage 80s party bit, where it's like, okay, we're gonna have some drugs, drink some beer, smoke some dope, have some sex, and oh, what are you 2 nerds doing? Oh, you're watching a sci-fi film. Okay, good. You know what? I'm actually more curious of what the hell they were watching. Yeah, I'm actually more curious of what the hell the teenagers were watching on the TV. I'm like, this is actually not a decent sci-fi. Will you 2 stop fucking over there? My God! Put on a condom. Put your thing away. Wow, I'm an asshole. And yeah, it's a typical 80s thing, and one of the big buff guys goes out, gets smokes, and he gets killed by one of the Protectors. Like, his girl comes out, she's like the big boob bimbo type thing, and what happens? Well, here's one of the things I have a problem with. She's actually the only one that actually gets her head exploded, and it's the only time we ever see that effect. Yeah, I mean, okay, these lasers that the robots have, they shoot out of their eyes, but it's the only time we actually get to see somebody's head explode throughout the movie. Now, that we've seen them shoot the people with the laser eyes, but they don't explode. It's like, really? Was she that much of an airhead? You know what? I think I may have just answered my own question. She was an airhead bimbo. Nothing going on in here. Nothing. Bunch of hot air. Laser shoots it. Yeah. So, yeah, the typical tropes of them being locked in. So it becomes like a sci-fi slasher, and the teenagers, they're basically working their way around. The guys and the girls get separated. The guys wind up going to a surplus gun store that's in the mall, and I would say it's ridiculous, but to be fair, if you go to any of the big time malls, there are actual surplus stores that you can buy guns, but it has to be like a sporting goods store, like say Dick's or something. Like, I would have said Sports Authority, but that went out of business a couple of years ago. So yeah, I went to like the Palisades Mall a while, like last year. I haven't been there in a while, but I went there like last year, literally. And yeah, went to Dick's sporting goods store. Tons of great stuff. Sporting goods all over the place. Great apparel. And on the far back, hunting equipment. We got bows and arrows. We got rifles, shotguns, BB guns, paintball guns. Actually, I was this close to buying a paintball gun that I really liked. Not even joking. I was so close to buying a decent paintball gun. And okay, keep this in mind. The guns they had at the store there was basically like, you know, just basic bolt action rifles, hunting shotguns. You know, just a shotgun that actually that has the long barrel but the short magazine capacity, so it's like click click, and the barrel's really long. You know, that type of shotgun. And a double barrel rifles, like double barrel shotguns and so on and so forth. And and as far as like handguns are concerned, mostly just 6-shooters and 1911s, like 1911 Colt style guns. So yeah, not the type of stuff you would normally see at a gun store. What does this store in the movie have? Police shotguns and an M16 and Harry Callahan from Dirty Harry's Colt 6-shooter. What the fuck? You know what? I'm an idiot. It's the 1980s, so possibility we're going to see that in there. But seriously, what surplus store in a mall sells a military-grade M16A2 assault rifle? And if you're wondering how the hell I know the rifle's name, my dad was in the NRA for years, so National Rifleman Association. He took me to go see gun shows a lot when I was a kid in the 90s, so I pretty much grew up knowing the knowledge of guns. So, yeah. Oh, boy. And I think the shotgun that the other guy uses is basically a Mitchell 12 gauge, which is something that the police normally use, and it's like an 8-round gun that holds up to 8 shells. So, yeah, and this is and to be fair, it's the 1980s, so it's not that surprising. It's a 1980s sci-fi horror film, so okay, not surprising that's even in the movie. And the guns don't do jack shit. Not even joking. I mean, they tried everything. The only thing that works on them is probably propane tanks that they actually wound up using as explosives. So one by one, they tried using them, and okay, one was in the elevator. They dropped propane tanks on it. It blows up. The second one, they go to an actual like a clothing store. They use one of the other propane tanks, but over time, they actually all the characters wound up getting killed off one by one. Yeah, one after another, they all start getting killed off. So, yeah. And the two geeky nerd characters, like, alright, they're the last two that are survivors, in a sense. The clothing store robot actually winds up getting killed, too. And the last one is the first protector. And we get the whole slasher film etiquette, where it's the final girl versus the killer. Or in this case, it was the robot. And the boy and the male nerd kid, we're assuming he's dead. Spoiler alert, he's not. He's KO'd for the time being. And she actually winds up going to several department stores. She actually goes to a pet store and to a paint store, and she spills paint thinner and paint all over the place, and she yells out, she gets the final word. By the way, I should mention that the robots do have a one-liner. It's called, "Have a nice day. Have a nice day. Have a nice day." And they say that all the time when they kill people. So, She has balls of saying, "Have a nice day, asshole." Well, I'm not sure she said asshole because I haven't seen this movie in a while, but yeah, she says, "Have a nice day." She tosses a flare. The robot is in the paint store. He's covered in paint and paint thinner. So, okay, I know for a fact that the paint itself is not combustible, but the compressed air where the paint fumes were all in, yeah, that's actually combustible. So she chucks a flare into there. Boom! Kills the robot with a huge explosion. Fucking 80s, man. The fucking 80s. Anyway, so she actually winds up walking away in victory, and we discovered that the nerdy boyfriend was actually still alive the whole time, too, so, yeah, he survived. Yeah, that's it, he survived. And, there's no epilogue. We don't even know what the hell happened to what happened to the rest. I'm assuming the mall actually wound up getting sued because the company that made the robots wound up getting sued by the mall owners because they actually wound up killing several innocent people. And I'm pretty sure the mall itself got sued from the family members of the teenagers who lost their lives in it. So I'm assuming that's what happened. They don't really explain, but it would have been nice if we get to see an epilogue happen. But no, it's a 1980s slasher film. So, yeah, and it's very short. In fact, was it say how short it is? It's like 77 minutes. So it's really relatively short. So, yeah, it's so short that it just comes and goes. So, would I recommend this for people to watch? Well, if you're nostalgic from the 1980s and you like slasher films and horror films or sci-fi slasher films, I would basically recommend this movie. It's got all types of 80s cheese that you'll find very enjoyable. So if you just want to shut your brain off for like about 77 minutes, give this movie a watch. But I would also recommend some of the other movies on this DVD collection too. So yeah. So that's my review. Chopping Mall. It's pure 80s horror cheese. Give it a watch. Oh, shit. I still want to do Queen of the Damned, but fucking goddamn it, Troy, you stuck on my DVD. I can do that movie. Okay, tune in next time, and I'm going to review a horror film that's PG. However, it's from the 1970s, and it's a pretty decent, good horror film. Put it this way, if it was made in the 1980s, it would have been PG-13, almost close to an R rating, if they add certain things in there. So tune in next time. We'll take a look at an environmental horror film from the 1970s. Till then, take care. Have a nice day.